Hello everyone and welcome to another VBL-S alignment chart video. I am your host Electric, or G the Amazing, and with me is a new entrant to not the VBL but to the VBL-S content space. Say hello, Ray.
Hi everyone, how are you?
Look,
I'm happy that you invited me for this team analysis. So hopefully
yeah,
I can
should
give
be a lot of
some,
fun.
I can
So I just
get. I'm like, yeah.
I just want
Sorry.
to say, guys, leave a like on the video. Ideally, leave a comment down below. I've found that my videos with comments on them are about like 2 or 3 times as successful as videos with no comments on them, and that it can be as little difference as 1 or 2 comments. And also, leave any comments about anything that you agree with, anything you disagree with, or any teams that you think that we might have misread. And definitely leave an appreciation for the co-host right now. So,
Thanks.
are you ready to look at our first big team, the Golden Goats?
Yep, definitely.
This team stuck very aptly with its team, avatar thing. Its team name, theme, mascot. That's what I got, the mascot pick of Goldengo, which is a very strong Pokemon. I have been constantly impressed and surprised by it every single time I've seen it. Its 84 speed is pretty good, and to kind of shore that up, they got Noivern and Volcarona, who both have access to Tailwind, and they are also Noivern's very fast, and Volcarona is also got access to Rage Powder for setup Goldengo or a defensive variant. I believe they have Tinkertoff with Fake Out. He's thoroughly Fake Out user, which does mean it kind of is tempted to come. Girafarig, I think, is their only Trick Room user, which means that it monitors influence to come. Passimian is a pretty decent Scarf Wall Breaker and is also fine without it. Mudsdale is one of the better grounds of the format. There's not a whole lot of ground types that were available. And then Azumarill and Rotom are both really good abuses for either the Fake Out support or the Rage Powder support, because if they set up, they're very strong.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with what you said. Like, Golden Go is a really good Pokemon. The only problem is just the mediocre speed. I think
Yeah.
it's only like 84. So
Look,
having
84 is
to
actually one of the faster Pokemon in this format. 80 is the average speed.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, so
Yeah, but then I mean like
yeah,
yeah, but I mean like there's gonna be like a lot of threat that can outspeed Goldingo, so that having a good Tailwind setter is a good point for this team,
yeah,
I guess.
and Fake Out and Rage Powder also alternative routes
Yep.
to kind of thing, as well as Trick Room for if they're playing an especially fast team. I think that they have a lot of really interesting support options that can come to a variety of different games, and then their offense, which I think is mainly Goldengo, Mudsdale, Azumarill, Rotom, and then Volcarona and Noivern, and to some extent Passimian and Skuntank, can all perform offense pretty well. So I'd say this is a somewhat top-heavy but relatively wide team, and I would say this team is super capable of playing towards the long game. Even its offensive mons are pretty tanky. So
Well, I do agree with you. Like, I think this team would need to do some good defensive switch in, trying to find like a better positioning on the board, and then just sweep with Goldingo or whoever like other sweeper that this team have. I think that's gonna be the gameplay that this team, Golden Goat, will have to do every week probably.
yeah, I think that they don't even purely rely on Goldango, but they have so much stuff. Like even Noivern not running Tailwind, just clicking Super Fang into a Pokemon that is a Steel Resist could really make it rain, get potentially 2 KOs on a turn, where it may have only been getting a decent chunk and a KO, or anything like that. And the Heat Wave allows it to get around Focus Sash. Volcarona is also oppressively strong. Azumarill can be oppressively strong. So I definitely think this team has really strong options for positioning. It's strong enough that I don't think it's too long game. It's very immediately strong. I'd say probably more, maybe a bit more top heavy than I have it now. And the tempo is there, but I think that it definitely favors the long game with how much powerful support it has. Alright. Now we go on to your...
Maybe I'll just add one more point, if you don't mind. Like, I think there's a hidden combo in this team, like Matzdale and Rotom with the discharge and
That's
discharge combinations.
Disquake's very strong.
That's also might be, that's
Nova,
really strong combo.
Yeah.
And
Novone also has
everyone
access
has
to
to-
telepathy, so you can discharge next to Novone as well. And obviously
there
it's
you
also
go.
immune to ground. I think obviously you can Terra anything to be a ground type and make it immune to electric, or a flying type and make it immune to ground. Does Girafarig also have... No, it doesn't have... It's Inner Focus, Early Bird, and Sap Sipper, not telepathy. So yeah, very strong team. It's got a lot of strong options that opposing teams have to prepare for.
Really, really strong.
And Rotom Terraing into electric becomes not only incredibly strong, but it loses its bug, fire, and poison weakness.
Fire weakness,
Yeah, becomes very, very difficult to kill. So now we go to your evil clone, Rey with an A. And Rey with an A has a variant to an AT. So, did you want to go over what we're looking at on Rey's team?
Okay, so is it Greninja?
No, the Apex, Alolan, Marowak.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going
Second?
through the Scarlet page. So,
Fair enough. Okay.
yeah, so if you head up Bump Over the Roses, we got like a Scarlet page and a Violet page, which specifically shows the teams, and then it's got big pictures. So yeah. I'll take this one, and then we can get you on the next one. So, Hydreigon, very strong first pick.
Yep.
Toadscruel, interesting support mon. Daxbun, very, very interesting, very early 2-point Daxbun there. That said, it's very good for 2 points as a decently defensive fairy type. Magnezone, solid sturdy mon, very powerful offensively, and it can use Terra very effectively. Aquatauros, great Intimidate, very good damage output. Straptor is an interesting extra Intimidate option paired with the Tauros. It's very strong if you run offensively as well. Bruxish to dissuade opposing priority. Gengar and Frostlass gives 2 fast ghosts that also both have strong Icy Winds, and as well as being immediately strong. And then Flareon and Colossal are interesting support options. You can Aquajet Colossal with Bruxish or Tauros to get weakness policy and Steam Engine off, which is certainly an interesting combination. This team index is very, very hard on offense. Like, Toadscruel is a fairly supportive mon, but it's not passive. And then, well, like, Dashbun is not the strongest, but it's still pretty good. So I would say this team definitely angles towards tempo. It's got Hydreigon, which can survive a long game, and the Intimidates do help the rest of the team survive the long game, as well as the immunity to priority, but a lot of these Pokemon are honestly fairly frail outside of the support that they've been giving. So I definitely say this is a team that indexes more towards tempo. Would you agree with that analysis?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think this team has to sweep pretty fast and pretty early in the game, and shouldn't let like the other team set up.
Yeah, it's got a lot of explosive conditions, and it feels a bit weak to opposing screens. That said, Tauros does have its signature move, Raging Bull, which is break screens, which is nice for this team. It's also interesting because Staraptor's Tailwind is technically a means of speed control, but I actually think more likely Gengar and Frostlass Icy Wind is going to be one of the major ways this team gets speed control, outside of mostly Trick Room from Toadscruel and Bruxish. And theoretically Gengar, though. I don't know if you'd see that when you have 2 other Trick Room setters. So I'd say this team indexes a lot around Hydreigon, but all of its Pokemon, I'd say, like, Dashbun and Colossal are the only mons I would... and Flareon, I guess, are the ones I can... But like, a lot of the rest of these mons feel similar slots with different niches. So I'd say this is a somewhat wide team, but it definitely feels more towards the top heavy end. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, kinda. But I do think like the damage dealer for this team is mainly Hydreigon, because I don't see any other Pokemon that would
Not
deal
Gengar?
much damage. Yeah, probably Gengar. So I'm thinking like, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, probably Race has to bring like Hydreigon and probably Gengar almost every week, and with enough support.
So my thoughts
So-
are that all of their support Pokemon are also pretty strong themselves, right? Tauros,
Yeah, I do
Tauros is
agree.
pretty
Like-
strong. Straptor is with if you put Reckless on it is incredibly strong. It's also got access to Final Gambit. Bruxish
yeah.
is decent attack as it stands, but with Strongjaw it gets very strong. Like Colossal, if you do commit to the weakness policy set, is strong, but otherwise it's passive. Flareon is strong with Guts, but it's a bit difficult to position well because of its frailty on the physical side.
Yep.
Frostlass is strong mostly because of its access to stab ice moves and stab ghost moves. Having 2 good stabs is good, but it is admittedly, I think it's what? Is it 110? No, it's 80 special attack, which is not anything to write home about, and without a boosting item. But Magnezone is very strong. I think it's 120 special attack. 115 special attack with... no, it is 100. That's 130 with a boosting ability, which is pretty good.
130.
It's technically stronger than Hydreigon is, but it's more awkward to position.
Well, actually, yeah.
And
yeah.
Analytic
Actually, you're
is
right. So,
very
yeah,
anti-synergy
yeah, a lot.
with Trick Room and with Toedscruel generally. Because Magnezone has to be the last Pokemon of the 4 Pokemon on the field moving to get the Analytic boost.
Yep. Yeah, I do agree with you. I think this team is gonna be top heavy team probably,
Yeah.
slightly top heavy towards
I
the
mean, I'd
tempo
say-
as well.
Yeah, definitely very tempo team. I think these 2 teams are very different to one another. Where this team has so many Pokemon that can reliably take 2 hits and be able to take 3 actions as a result, whereas this team has a lot of Pokemon where, outside of really Hydreigon, most of the rest of the Pokemon are frail, except for how you make them bulky with Intimidate support, potentially screens from Bruxish, potentially all sorts of things, Wisp from Gengar or Frostlass and stuff like that. But with immediacy, they're not that bulky. So now on to the Greenwich Greninjas with Bing Man. Do you want to take us through their team?
Yeah. Okay, sure. I'll give it a try. So the first pick is like probably the best Pokemon, the best Pokemon in this generation. Probably Garchomp
Yeah.
is really good.
Definitely Garchomp or Goldengo.
Yeah, with the stab. It has a stab earthquake that pretty much can deal like at least 50% to almost every Pokemon. I'm pretty sure. And if you and then the next 2 picks are pretty solid support for Garchomp. Like Talonflame can set up Tailwind if needed, or can Taunt. Provide Taunt support. Well, I think it has Will-O-Wisp as well, right?
Talonflame, yeah, absolutely. It's Will-O-Wisp and Taunt make for really good positioning even after it's gotten that fast Tailwind off.
Yeah, and then also Rotom-Wash. Garchomp and Rotom-Wash has been a partner since forever, I guess.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's a good. Yeah, those three Pokemons made a good core for this team.
Yep.
And then there's a couple of Zoroark, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of get confused about what's happening with the rest of this team. Right, like I might be missing something, but I feel like
Yeah.
Quavel makes
Well,
some
I
sense.
do understand. Like, yep. I think B Sharp would be like the Defiant to scare off the Intimidator, because we know Garchomp would be like,
Yeah.
if someone sees Garchomp, probably they're gonna bring the Intimidator, and then Lumineon is actually pretty good. It has Storm Lane and then also Tailwind, so it can be a good support as well.
But you need it
And
when
then-
you have Rotom-Wash, which takes your only Pokemon that's
Exactly,
weak to
yeah.
water is Talonflame, and Stonjourner Hippopotas, which are both kind of weird options. And then Luminion is Tailwind, just like Talonflame. So that does confuse me a bit. And then Rabsca is a Trick Room setter, but I think that Hippopotas is their only really like slow mon. I guess Cacturne at 55, I think.
Cacturne as well.
Cacturne at 55, Hippopotas at 32.
Yeah.
Like Bishop and Stonjourner at 70 are, I think, a bit fast to reliably play into Trick Room. So I wonder if this was more for Revival Blessing.
I agree with you. I don't think this team wants to play under Trick Room.
Yeah. So, but they got a really good Trick Room. So maybe this is just Revival Blessing. Yeah. Maybe it's to counter opposing Trick Room. I just feel like this team feels the most top heavy that I've seen, where Garchomp and Rotom-Wash and Quaquaval are like so much better than every other mon in terms of doing stuff, and then Talonflame is a much better support mon than the rest of the other ones. Like the Sand Veil team of Cacturne, Garchomp, and Hippopotas, I'm not sure if that's going to work. I mean, it sounds very frustrating to play against, but I don't know if that's worth it. They're all weak to ice. It's interesting. This team is, it feels incredibly top heavy.
It's definitely top heavy team.
And it doesn't feel like a place to long game. The weird thing about grabbing a bunch of random supports, normally you would anticipate them all being kind of bulky or tanky, but Bishop and Hippopotas are, if they VBL-Lite, otherwise not really. And then like Quaquaval's pretty frail, so Rotom-Wash, Garchomp can take hits, Rabsca can take hits. That's really it. Zoroark is incredibly frail, Stonjourner is incredibly frail. I think Stonjourner is a high Fizz def, but 20 base special defense is some of the worst, and like Cacturne's really frail, and Hippopotas is incredibly frail without EV-Lite, and then Bishop is somewhat tanky, especially on the Fizz def side, but it's not got good special defense, and its typing gives it a lot of neutralities where it wishes it had resists. So, like, this team's only fairy resist is Talonflame.
Yeah, definitely tempo.
Yeah, it's forced to play very hard into tempo, so I think this team is like right up here. Maybe it's got a little bit more long game than it has wide options. This team feels like it's going to very much it's going to bring the same two Pokemon to basically every set of 4 mons.
Yeah, totally agree. It's either Garchomp with Talonflame or Garchomp with Rotom-Wash. I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, I was thinking Garchomp and Rotom-Wash comes to every single set, basically. Maybe occasionally there's a really bad matchup for Rotom-Wash, or if you're really unlucky, there's a bad matchup for Garchomp and they have like multiple Levitate users or multiple flying types, and that would not be great for Garchomp. But Rotom-Wash can hopefully punish them. So look, we'll see. It would be interesting to see Big Man take that team on. So now we'll slide over to the next team on the list, which is Dan and the Alexandria Arcanines. So, Lycanroc Dusk, round 1, and Kilowattrel, round 1. I wanted to cry, because I was like 2 picks away, I think. I was like 13th of... No, I was 10th, and it's a 12-person draft. And I was so hoping that Kilowattrel would come back to me, because I made it a hard rule that I would get 2 Gen 9 Pokemon. And it broke my heart when on the wheel they took, well, one of my favorite mons last season, and then the mon I was most hoping to use this gen. And then they're funny because they took Kingambit, which is another mon that I was strongly considering. And they put some really interesting mons. So I think Clawitzer still has access to Terrain Pulse, so it paired with Indeedee is really interesting. But having 3 really dominant priority users, and to some extent first impression Haxorus, paired with Indeedee female is a bit confusing to me. Picking up Thungus as another redirector after is also a bit confusing to me. But they do have a lot of Pokemon that appreciate setup. Whether it's Abomasnow setting up Veil, Kingambit Swords Dance, Lycanroc Swords Dance, or Haxorus Dragon Dance Swords Dance, Tauros Bulk Up. It's pretty strong. What are your thoughts on the team?
In terms of... Yeah, because I agree with you, Kilowattrel is pretty good. Like, it has a good special attack, and then also it can set up Tailwind. But then, like, I wonder, like, what would benefit from the Tailwind in this team, though? Like, probably Kingambit.
Kingambit, Abomasnow, Glaceon, like all kind of Haxorus can, Plectros can.
Yep,
It's really
Haxorus
interesting.
definitely, and maybe yeah.
Like if Indeedee had Expanding Force, I'd say that, but without Expanding Force, I don't know, Hyper Voice is not the oppressive force that Expanding Force was. So I really
And then
I think this team is very
and
wide.
then I just checked. It doesn't have. Uh-huh.
What's that? No, yeah, it doesn't have Expanding Force.
No, I just checked like.
Only
Sorry.
Umbrelush wants it.
Yep.
And then Sliggoo competing with Fungus for redirect for EVO-Lite, but I don't know if you're bringing Fungus very much. It's actually a lot of points to spend on him on when you have another good redirector. Indeedee is their only Trick Room setter, so maybe the idea is that Fungus can help Indeedee set up Trick Room. This team is, very much a tail room sort of team. I think this team's very wide. I think you can see all 11 of
It
these
is
mons
wide.
coming to games. I just don't know if you can see these mons necessarily. Some of the Pokemon are very tempo mons. Lycanroc Dusk is very tempo, Kilowattrel's very tempo. I'd say to a strong degree Indeedee is tempo, and Abomasnow can be tempo. Haxorus is frail, maybe with support, or potentially even Terra Icing in snow. You can make it feel a lot bulkier. Kingambit's it's tanky, it's not a wall, but it definitely is tanky, especially with Aurora Veil support. So, I don't know. I think this team definitely seems like a team that might come out of nowhere and just be really strong. I really don't know how to put it on this list. Like, for now it's sitting kind of in the middle where I think it's indexing towards wide. And it's got something that pulls it super strong into
I do
tempo
agree. It's
and
gonna be
super strong
wide,
into long
definitely.
game.
Yeah. I do agree. It's gonna be wide because this team can go with the Trick Room mode or the Tailwind mode, but then I'm a little bit confused as well whether it's gonna be a tempo or long game.
Yeah, I think that they can kind of plug and play whether they want tempo or long game. Their support mons work both in the fast mode and in the slow mode, which is really interesting. I think they kind of have to. I mean, they either don't get to wind power discharge, or they have to Terra one of their Pokemon to ground, which I guess I'd lean Lycanroc Dusk because it gets at least draw run with Tough Claws, which is pretty strong. So that's a bit interesting. I don't think any of their Pokemon have access to telepathy. Indeedee might. I don't know what Indeedee's other abilities besides Psychic Surge are. Indeedee female. Synchronize and own tempo. Yeah, not exactly. It would be really interesting to see Glaceon and Abomasnow as a Trick Room option, especially it's not a Trick Room, Tailwind option with the Kilowattrel. Those are very strong Blizzards coming out, especially if you Terra one of them. And teams who are weak to Ice should really be concerned about that. So I think this team is super wide, and it's going to be like a pain to prepare for. But yeah, I think it's very much in the middle of tempo and long game. Maybe leaning a bit towards tempo.
Right in the middle.
But not enough to leave the line. Next we have Sam and the New York Ninetales. So this is the team that makes me want to cry. Umbreon, round one.
So it's actually pretty good. Yeah, Umbreon.
It's Sam's classic mon. It had a very funny finals game. And yeah, Ceruledge, really solid New Gen mon. Ghost and Fire is such a strong offensive typing, and it's also a really nice defensive typing in this one. You'd be surprised how many Terras are normally very good, but get kind of checked by Ceruledge. Like Fairy, Fighting, and Fire are all really good ones, and if you Terra into another type, you still have Flash Fire. So you can cover a lot of stuff defensively. Jumpluff is a really good redirector. Lucario is a good abuser. Hatterene is a good abuser. Though this team is not very slow to abuse Hatterene. It's like Eel at 50, that's slow. Gobaraja at 35, I think. Oh no, it's just 30. It's pretty slow. But it's really just that. Like Santa Connor at 71. I think Stanler might be 70. I don't know how fast Stanler is. 85. That's a bit fast. For Trick Room. And Umbreon, I guess. Calm Mind Umbreon is scary. Like, that model's already good, and it has more depth to its set. This is a very wide team. It's got modes, and the modes all seem very strong. Terra Normal E-Speed Lucario is a nightmare. Terra Ghost Ceruledge is also scary with Shadow Sneak. And then Intimidate, Trick Room, Stantler is really good. Hatterene's really good. Haunter is a funny guy. You put a Focus Ash on it and it does damage. 95 speed is not bad. And Floatzel. 105 or 110 speed, I forget. 115. Yeah, no.
15. Yep.
It's a fast Pokemon. So I'd say this team is wide. That said, Ceruledge is doing really a lot of work. Yeah. And then Lucario or Copperajah, I think. I mean, Hatterene's good. And then Haunter and Eel are okay. Floatzel is okay. Sandaconda is not great. I don't actually know if it gets high horsepower or Drill Run right now. So I'd say this team in the index is pretty heavily towards tempo, right? Umbreon is tanky, which is long game, but Jumpluff is frail support. Ceruledge is it's got tank to it, but it's not bulky. Lucario is frail. Hatterene is somewhat tanky, but relatively frail, especially on the physical side. Eel is tanky, but I guess with Intimidate support, and if you like Whisk from Ceruledge and Snarl Spam from Umbreon, you can take this to a longer game. But I would say this leans tempo, and it feels very wide. Actually, I'm going to put it down.
It is a really wide team.
Put it kind of like this.
And I think this team has a lot of like a good speed control.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure Jumpluff can do can set up Tailwind.
Yeah, it got Tailwind this gen, which is a massive buff to an already good Pokemon.
Yeah, and then there's a couple of Trick Room.
Yeah, there's Trick Room. There's strong extreme speed users. There's a decent Icy Wind options. Claire on Sandaconda. You know, it's a lot of options. And Electros has no weaknesses.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, definitely wide team with tempo. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, but it can play towards the long game. It's just that it kind of has to slot out some of its best support options to support that. So the Seattle Swallows. Oh my god, Sly, what did you do? This team is nuts. They got Toxapex, Bronzor, and Chansey at the end. That's funny. This team is like a pain. Like, Sly sometimes draws teams that are, but this team is a pain. Okay, Grim, incredible Pokemon. Arcanine, oh my god, its support options so good. Its offensive options are so good. Baxcalibur is a great setup sweeper. Espathra is, I think, the best setup sweeper for cost in the format. Corviknight is a great setup sweeper. And would you look at that? They got Scovillain for redirection, Cyclizar for Shed Tail, and Donphan for being funny. And then, you know, Chansey, Bronzor, Toxapex. I don't... Toxapex is probably can do a thing. I mean, this is a team that could set up Toxic Spikes offensively. Like, you know, this is a this is an interesting team. So first thing I want to say is that this team is very strongly towards the long game. Like, it in terms of immediate power, Scovillain and Arcanine are really just it. Like, Donphan has some immediate power. Baxcalibur is solid with Glaive Rush especially.
Bex, yeah.
I think it's 145 attack, yeah. But it's not like insane. And Espathra is really good in kind of like the mid game sort of thing, to where it's Lumina Crash, I think its ability is.
Yep.
Yeah, it drops.
Like that.
Yeah, it drops Spinef by 2.
I think, yeah.
So it can force switches or KOs, which are both nice. And opposing teams will want to Terra Dark, and then they'll get Dazzling Gleamed by it. It'd be great. Or no, you might not get Dazzling Gleam. I think it uses Terra Blast Fairy in singles. I assume it would do similar in VGC. Speed Boost is really nice on it, but Opportunist is also nice to punish some of the opposing setup teams that we've seen.
Yep.
And Store Power is crazy strong. So yeah, I'd say this team leans a little towards top heavy. It's definitely a bit wide, but it's definitely wider than the Golden Goats. But oh my god!
But I can see like this team really need Grimmsnarl to come every week, probably.
See, it's always going to be in your team of 6, I think. But I'm not sure it's always going to be in your team of 4. Because you can just kind of bring any of these support options with Scoville and Cyclozar or Grimmsnarl, and they will work. And again, you know, this team could bring Toxic Spikes in VGC, you know. Espathra seems like it synergizes pretty well with Toxic Spikes because Luma Crash does force switches. And it punishes, obviously, poisons pretty hard, and steals don't love it. So that it's interesting, honestly. I'm really excited to see this season. I'm really glad to be in Violet. I'm pretty sure I'm in Violet. Yeah. Really glad to be in Violet. Slice team is insane. Alright. Any last words?
Top heavy and long game, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's a bit top heavy, but it's got like
no, I'll just
even its niche mons can do stuff. Okay, so Violet. Do you want to bring us through our first team?
So let's see. Proud Palavin, right?
Yep. Threat Bang.
Okay, so the first pick is the ape, the scary apes. Yep, we all know like apes can do stuff.
It's an insane mob.
It's really good. It's really fast. Yep. It's really fast. It has like a crazy attack and
Rage Fist.
Pretty much inner focus. You can do inner focus to avoid intimidate or defiant.
Defiant's better because
Pretty
you
much
get
you got
plus
a
1
lot
attack,
of-
right? Inner focus is
Oh, that's true.
not listed here.
Oh,
That's right, the Gen 9
and
ones
then
are
it has a
listed.
ghost type, so you don't need anything. Yeah, exactly. You don't need anything. You don't need
Fake
inner
out
focus
immunity.
anyway.
Because there's no
and then-
scrappy fake out in the format.
Yep, and then Rotom hit the second pick, which is we all know like Rotom is pretty good. You can
Yep.
set up
Terra Electric
Nasty
gives
Blood.
no weaknesses. Yeah.
Exactly.
So dumb.
It can act as a support as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
well,
non that can
it's
nasty
our-
plot. It can fault, it can discharge, it can do whatever.
Yep.
And it has the best Disquake
And
partner of all
then,
time. Toad School.
Yep.
Skizar.
Next is Caesar. Yep.
That one's scary.
Well, it does. Like you can just Terra to steal and then spam bullet punch. I think that's gonna hurt. That's definitely gonna hurt.
It's gonna leave
Especially if you
a
can
mark.
get like sword dance.
It's just Terra Steel is an option. Defensive Terras are also an option. It gets access to Tailwind, and I think it's
Yep.
probably the best slow Tailwind setter in the format. Maybe Corviknight, which I guess we didn't mention that on the last Corviknight thing. I think it or Corviknight are the best slow Tailwind setters.
Yeah.
And it has access to Pounce, which is a new bug move, 50 base power, which is boosted by Technician, and it guaranteed lowers the opposing speed by 1 stage, which is strong, and it's an interesting ability to get that single target speed drop, which lets you have Icy Wind without having to trigger Defiant.
Amazing. Yeah, and then it has the Olive Garden, the Arboliva. Like
Arboliva. Damn on, I'm an Arboliva.
yeah. I'm pretty sure like it's one of the best Trick Room Sweeper, and it also can set up.
It has that
Crazy terrain, so I think
blistering
it's cool,
125 special attack, compared with the boosting ability and the ability to buff up with Throat Spray as well. And also it has the defensive Harvest option, which is solid even if you don't want to commit to Trick Room.
Yeah.
Speaking of committing,
So yeah, I think that's.
Tatsugiri Dondozo, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Everyone has to prep for this combo. Like, that's really scary. We all know what it does. Like,
Yeah.
it's like everyone in VGC has to prepare for Tatsugiri and Dondozo.
And
So that's
then
just
they
scary.
have the ability to run Storm Drain instead of Commander, and just use
Yep,
its 120 special attack for good, and redirect 5 moves away from Rotom Heat. Not 5, water moves away from Rotom Heat. And Dondozo is just it's kind of just a wacky mod, you know. Unaware and Oblivious, and I think Water Veil. Um,
Yep.
it's something,
Yeah,
man. It's so bulky. It's 150
Pokemon that you don't
HP,
need.
right? 150 HP, 100 defense, 65
You don't
special
even need
defense.
to bring both of them.
What's right?
You don't even need to bring both of them. You can just bring one.
Absolutely.
Dondozo into the Trick Room mode, and it worked just fine.
Yeah. Hey man, look at that Trick Room mode. 2 pretty solid Trick Room
And then
setters.
Mimikyu, I think it's the best Trick Room setter ever. Like most of the time, if you
Ever?
slap, I would say so. Probably probably Crest and Porygon 2 probably slightly better,
not
but
Dusclops.
Mimikyu is more reliable in a way.
You wouldn't have gone with Dusclops.
That's true. Oh yeah, I forgot about that sculpt.
There's so many good Trick Room
Yeah, but-
setters. Trick Room setters are a dime a dozen. But Mimikyu, its ability Disguise makes it easier to set up Trick Room. Post Disguise nerf, I think it went from being the best Trick Room setter to just being a good Trick Room setter. You know, it used to be able to run Focus Sash, and then you would run Crafty Shield, and then it couldn't be taunted, and it could not be KO'd unless you ran a multi-hit move and doubled it. So that was nuts. It doesn't have that now, which is a healthy change. Toadschool is also an interesting Rage Powder user because it ignores Barrascuta's ability and nothing else. Because Overcoat Mons weren't immune to Rage Powder anyways. But it can also spore Overcoat Mons, which is funny. Is there actually an Overcoat Mon in this format? I have no idea. Do you think there is? Overcoat makes you immune to powder moves, but not... Oh yeah, Cloyster. Cloyster, Revavroom, Shelgon, and Fortress.
Fortress. Yep.
Funny about Revavroom. But you can spore all of those Pokemon with Toadschool. I just think that one is interesting. Impidimp, funny guy. Dual screens is a nice option for Annihilape, but Fake Out is also good. It's this team's only Fake Out user, which does kind of pressure it to coming. And it's Prankster to move pool this gen is better than it was last gen. It's a lot more similar in its options to Morgrem. That said, it still is very frail, so it often will not be able to get Light Clay 2 screen setup, but it can generally get Sash 2 screen setup. Bombardier. This one's surprisingly good. It's got stab rock moves. It's 70, 85, 85 bulk. It's pretty good. And it's got fastish tailwind.
Yep.
Cryogonal, if you Terra Electric, it has no weaknesses. It's got recovery as well. I don't know how much that does, but it's strong. Because if you Terra Electric, you also get Bolt Beam Stab, which is nice. And it becomes immune to, not immune, it resists the Bullet Punch that it used to be weak to. But it doesn't resist fighting, or fire, or rock. Does resist steel.
Overall, this team has a lot of options, I guess.
This team is wide. I think that Annihilape is coming every team of 6, but that's fine. It's more about if your other 5 months are flexible. I'd say this team's pretty flexible. The team's pretty wide. This team feels indexed very heavily on the long game. The only frail mon is Mimikyu, and then technically Cryogonal and Impidimp. But Impidimp and Impidim's a support mon, and Cryogonal can very much be EV'd and Terra to avoid that. So I'd say this is a big, wide, long game team. This is the opposite of our Greninjas.
Wide long game team, definitely.
So I'd say good team. Really, really interesting team. It's kind of crazy. I think in both divs, Tatsugiri, Dondozo have been picked up by a coach together. So we'll see if they perform in draft. So now we come to the king, the titular daddy plan, daddy. Here's some interesting mons.
Really Aswooper.
So he's got Slowking Satitan, which is a solid combination. Check out my video, which will be coming up about it, unless it's already out. I don't think it is. I think it comes out the day after I release this video. Tauros, really solid Tauros Blaze, and with Meowscarada you can Flower Trick it to get Anger Point off. In there was a Tainan Regionals team, which was Meowscarada, Sylveon, and Tauros Aqua, which terrified it, which is obviously less flexible than being Fire already. But like Meowscarada, Sylveon, and Tauros showed to be really powerful together. Raging Bull is such a nice ability, and Flower Trick also ignores screens, so this team has two really good options to get through screens. Oh, and Dragapult's Infiltrator. This team's speed control is really good. Dragapult is great disruption. Offensively, Meowscarada does good disruption. Revavroom, I think... I don't remember what Revavroom does. Do you know what Revavroom does? I'm just gonna...
I think it has to... I know it's 90 speed and then 100 something attack.
Yes.
I think
I know it gets a signature
pretty
move
speedy
that drops its speed
attacker.
by 2 stages. Apparently, it clicks Terra Normal Self-Destruct, according to Pikalytics.
Oh, okay.
You can do that next to Dragapult.
Interesting.
I don't think they have another one. They snipe my Appleton. That one's good. That one's really good right now. It's almost as bulky as Garganacl, and it also has Iron Defense Body Press, or it might be Acid Armor. I forget which one, but it's got Recovery as well. And Apple Acid is a funny move that drops your opponent's Spadef by 1 stage. A lot worse than Lumina Crash, a lot slower, but it still is good for a long game team. This team has some really fast game and then so much long game potential. Like, it's got two of the best tempo mons in the game. Sylveon, Daddy Classic, and then Dragapult can play fast game, but Sylveon can play long game. You know, these mons, you said Trick Room with Meowscarada, why don't you? I'd say this team, indexes pretty heavily on the long game. I'd say it's pretty wide, right? I don't think Sudowoodo is a real mon. I think Diglett's
It's pretty wide.
Diglett's more real than Sudowoodo is, but Braviary is good. Appleton is good. Revavroom is probably usable. The snow option's pretty solid. The crit thing's pretty solid. Pure offense is pretty solid. Tailwind off Braviary isn't bad. I think it's relatively slow at 80. Yeah, 80. But still not bad. 80 is average speed. You'll be faster the next turn, even if you don't get something faster this turn. So I'd say that's a bit towards the wide side. Its top is very wide as it stands. I'd say its top were Meowscarada, Sylveon, Tauros, and Dragapult, and having a 4-mod top is pretty good. So yeah, that's a solid team. Now, do you want to introduce us to the next team?
Yep. The Minchinus, Cincinnati Minchinus.
Yeah, the Cincy Minchies.
Yep. So the first pick is Moshole,
Yep.
which is the best, one of the best support mon this generation, but it also can
It's very strong.
give offensive pressure. Yeah.
Tidy Up is really interesting, which is like a
Moshole.
Dragon Dance that removes opposing subs, and if you're Sly playing Sly, it removes hazards too. And then it has a 300 base power stab move, which is it's 20 base power 10 times. So it dies to Helmet, but you can also just not click it and just click Follow Me. And it has Friend Guard if you're not using Technician. It's a
Yep.
good mod.
It has Anchor, Fake Tears,
Taunt.
Helping Hand, a lot of supporting options, I guess.
Yeah.
Taunt as well.
And its offense is not bad at all.
So this Pokemon is really good.
It doesn't have a mon to beat up on this team,
Yeah.
which is fine. It's just beat up is a nice option. Gardevoir is one of the best special attackers for cost in this game, probably. Its dual stab is incredibly good.
Yep.
80 speed, like I said, is average, but it can very easily be scarfed. It also has access to Tailwind and Icy Wind speed control. It's just very strong at 125, and the dual stab, hits everything but steel, I think. Doesn't hit steel, and it doesn't hit Armor Rouge. I can't think of anything else that resists the dual stab that's in Paldea decks. That said,
No, I
not
think
hitting
it's
most
just the
steel
steel.
types is bad. Because,
It has Gardevoir.
Salamence, Fast Mon,
Um,
Intimidate, Tailwind, and it can also be a win condition. Hariyama, one of the best fake out mons. Persian, one of the fastest fake out mons.
Yep. And it has like a lot of options as well. Icy Wind, I think it has Icy Wind.
Yeah, Persian Icy Wind is a big thing. It also has Technician on that, which can be useful sometimes. I think it has Limber. I don't think it gets Limber, Technician, and Unnerve. Unnerve to remove berries is pretty strong as well. I think Salamet's got Unnerve also. No, Moxie. I'm confusing it with Tyranitar. And then like their lower mons, Vaporeon is incredibly good. I thought it was really underpriced for what it is. It doesn't have Scald, but you ran Muddy Water anyways, and Calm Mind is so good on it. Especially with like Friend Guard, even without Follow Me. Misdreavus is interesting. I think it gets Trick Room, but I'm not sure about that.
I think it does, yeah.
It's got Parasol, I know that for sure. Don't know what Muck does, but it might be interesting. Magneton is good because Gardevoir steals, so you can threaten that, and Sturdy's also fine. It's decently strong, I think. 120 special attack? Yeah, 120 special attack. And then Avalugg is on the team. I don't know why Avalugg is on the team.
Avalugg.
Sorry, it's 95, 46 special defensive is not amazing, but it can be worked around. So yeah, I don't really know what Avalugg is doing. It might get body press, and that might be why. I think it does get body press. 184 defense is a pretty good stat to do body press off of, especially because you
White Guard. So
oh yeah, White Guard's not bad at all. So yeah, this team has options. And Houndoom, I think, is kind of relative Persian, but yeah, Houndoom is fast. It's got Snarl. It also has Unnerve, I think. Yeah, Unnerve, and then Flash Fire for the fire immunity. It's relatively frail, but it's strong-ish, and 95 speed is pretty fast in the current format. Okay, now we come to the team that it's illegal for me to talk about, so I'll pass. Oh, wait, sorry, we have to put James's thing. James's team is wide, and I'd say it is a bit slow, so I'd put it to the long game.
Yep.
Wide. It's not as wide as the Palafins team, because I don't like Houndoom that much, I don't like Muck that much, and I don't like Misdreavus that much, and I don't like Avalugg that much. I think the rest of it's pretty good. I watched the video earlier, but I think I've forgotten a lot of it. Okay.
The first 5 pick is really, really solid, I guess.
Yeah, very solid, though some of them seem maybe a bit early, but I mean, round 5 is when I was hoping to take Persian. Yeah, now onto Shogun's Bait. Do you want to take us through the team that's legal for me to talk about?
Yep, sure. Okay, so the first pick is Palafin. It's a good one. It has I think Jet Punch is a priority, and then
Jet Punch
Flip
is
Turn.
What, I think 60 or 80 base power, priority water move. I think 60.
I think
It's 60. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's like the same as having Technician Jet Punch. And as you can see, 160 attack is pretty good. But it does need to switch to do that.
Yep, and then you can just Flip Turn, find a good positioning, and then bring it on at the late game, and then you can sweep with Palafin. I guess that's a good option. Armarouge. Okay, so this is, I'm pretty sure it's Indeed's friend, right?
It has expanding force. I don't have Indeedee though.
Yep.
Right now, at least.
Okay. But it's a decent mon. Fire Psychic is pretty good.
Yep.
It has Trick Room, I believe.
Yes, it does.
And then the next one is Klefki. Klefki is a good support mon as well. It can set up screen. It has Trick Room this gen, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, it does. They have a lot of Trick Room sets.
Yeah. Yep, Thunder Wave. Yeah, pretty much a lot of good options.
And it also
Flamigo.
It can set up and be offensive itself, but it's a bit slow.
Yeah. Because it has, what's the special attack for Klefki?
So Flash Cannon, Dazzling Gleam, but it's also stored power, and it's got 80, and I think it's offensive stats.
Does it have Calm Mind?
Yeah, it's got Calm Mind, and it's got Cosmic Power, I believe. If you just want to be degenerate and pass to Klefki, which, no comment. Sorry, and pass to Flamigo. It's got Iron Defense.
It's actually illegal.
It does not have Cosmic Power.
Or it's illegal.
It does have Iron Defense with Carmine, though.
That's
It's a good psycho.
Carmine Klefki is pretty scary, in my opinion.
But it's got a lot of interesting
Next
options, I
one.
think. The
Next
people
one
aren't
is
expecting
Flamingo.
Choice Spec Steel Beam.
Choice specs on Klefki.
Yeah, Choice Spec Steel Beam Klefki. No one's expecting it. And they're right not to. Yeah, sorry, Flamigo?
Yep. So I think it's pretty underrated mon. It has Tailwind, I'm pretty sure, and then Close Combat, right? Well,
Just a comment on whether it's
what else?
underrated. I think it was undercosted, but it does.
Yep.
I'll just put this on the screen. It does see 5% usage on ladder right now, which is a very high degree of usage.
Okay. Yeah, but for 3 point, it's really cheap. I
Absolutely,
guess.
absolutely. It's a strong,
You got
scrappy
great bird.
Pokemon, right? I used Surf Edge last season, and it's Surf Edge with U-turn, a secondary stab, and a good speed stat, and Tailwind.
Yep.
Less strong, but still strong.
Yeah. What else does it have?
Also, it's White Guard, which is cool. Also, Armorooch is White Guard.
White Guard. Yep.
I think I have another one with White Guard. I have a lot of White Guard.
U-turn. Yeah, this Flamigo is really good. Really, it's a mega value, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, at least I'd like to think so. I got it pretty early because I wanted a flying type, and there were not a lot of good ones for the cost. And also, I wanted one that wasn't weak to rock, which is pretty good.
Next one is Jolteon.
Hmm.
It's a really fast Pokemon with 130 speed and 110 special attack, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Yep, and then like it has Thunder Wave, Volt Switch. Does it have Air Impulse, Electro Web? No Electro. Yeah,
Sadly, no.
yeah. So, but you have a lot of option with Jolteon.
Yeah,
has
it's very immediately
Quick Hit as
strong.
well.
Obviously, it can Terra into ice and do the Bolt Beam memes. But even without that, it's still very strong. Last gen, we saw that with Dynamax, it had a real, genuine niche because it's strong and fast. And it turns out that strong and fast Pokemon are good.
Yep.
Yeah. Tell me if that's a controversial
It's good for
perspective.
that. No, I totally agree with you.
All right, now we go
You
to
can sweep if it is fast enough. You can sweep
Yeah.
the whole team with just Jolteon.
yeah. I
And
mean,
the
you
next
can
one
definitely
is,
find that. But now we go to an even a slower Pokemon, but it's stronger than Jolteon. That's right, it has 111 special attack instead of 110.
Salzal.
Um,
Yep.
I think it's
Has,
the second fastest fake out user,
Sorry.
and it's strong.
Yeah, I think it's only Persian is faster than.
No, it's
Salzal,
faster than
I'm pretty
Persian.
Sure.
Persian is 115,
Oh, it's-
Salazzle's 117, Weavile is the fastest. I don't know if there's another mon
Oh,
that I'm
okay,
forgetting that is faster than Salazzle, but I don't think so.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Weavile is the fastest one, and Salzal is second fastest.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah, it's a good fire type, and then
Kills fairies.
so what? Yeah, I'm not really familiar actually. What else does Salzal do?
So the
Like
common
Tower
set that it
Hit.
ran, and it was really good in Gen 7 for a period. Overheat with Eject Pack is very popular because it lets you switch out, and because it has Oblivious, it's immune to Intimidate, so it doesn't get switched out by Intimidate. So you can get Fake Out, and then you either get a switch because they KO you, or you get a lot of damage out with Overheat and get a switch from the Spectacula.
Aha. Okay, that's pretty interesting, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah, you get a knockoff if you want to run it,
Yeah.
but
One of relatively few
definitely
mods that
Salzal has a lot of.
has knockoff for some reason.
Yep.
It's got okay special defense, so like with an Assault Vest and a lot of the moves that it has. Okay, it doesn't have great special defense. For some reason, I thought it was about 70 odd, but I'm just going crazy. But, you know, any fast Pokemon can be bulky by clicking Substitute. Bronzong.
Bronzong. Oh, okay. Yeah. Talking about bulky, this is the. Okay, Bronzong is really good. Trick room setter as well, because you can set up the trick room, and then under the trick room, Bronzong can still operate. It can set up.
Screens?
What is it called?
Gravity?
Yes, and then also the iron defense.
Oh, iron
and
defense.
body
Yeah,
press
iron defense,
combo.
body press. Yep.
Yeah, so,
Sorry, I was really not sure where you were going there. It also has access to Nightshade
Yeah.
this gen, which is a significant buff because it means you don't need to run any investment
Oh,
whatsoever.
really?
Yeah. Bronzor doesn't get it though, otherwise I would have brought it up with the other dude, Sly's team.
and then if you are trying to be cheeky, you can do like speed swap. Does it get speed swap? Oh no, it's illegal this gen.
Yeah, I don't think
sadly.
speed swaps are, because I don't have technical records, I don't think speed swap is a TR this gen.
Yeah, unfortunately. Otherwise, you can try to be cheeky and then speed swap with.
I remember
another
speed
Pokemon.
swapping Ribombi into Glastria because my opponent was setting up Trick Room. That's a classic. Yeah, low kicks. Funny guy.
Yeah.
I have a lot of priority, I realized, around this point. I guess I don't have that much. I just have, like, Prankster, and then I have Fake Out from Salazzle. But then low kicks and Palafin both have very strong physical priority.
I think Lokix is the second fastest first impression user, right? I think Haxorus might be faster than
Slower than
Lokix, but-
Haxorus, right? Haxorus at 97 speed.
Yep. So the second fastest one.
Yep, because, you know, when you're clicking a +2 priority move, you need to be faster than the other guy. It has Tinted Lens, which is really nice.
It has Break Break as well.
Yeah,
If needed.
its Dark Stab's pretty nice. It's got Axe Kick, which is the 100 base power high jump kick.
Sucker Punch, Throat
Yeah,
Chop.
Sucker Punch is a big
A lot
one.
of good options. as well.
And the
Pounce,
typing is
that's
just nice.
one, right?
Its Fizdef is also surprisingly good. So it can take moves that, like, it will generally live a Rock Slide, if not occasionally even 2, and often maybe a Rock Slide and Chip. Similar.
Yeah, it's a decent Pokemon.
Dazzling Gleam, not as much though. Gabite. Yevite. I wanted a ground type, so I picked up a 1.1.
It's pretty. It's a Garchomp on budget, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the Levitate, Bronzong, and I've got Flamigo flying type. I got 2 ground resists as well. You know, ignore my
Yep.
ground weaknesses; they're not real. Also, definitely Bronzong,
it's
never
pretty-
heat proof. Sorry, it's pretty. Yeah, I think Gabite is okay for 1 point, but it's not great. No, so only Stomping Tantrum, no horsepower. But its bulk is okay with Eviolite, but really bad without Eviolite though. It's 4x weakness to ice, but my team is not weak to ice at all. I have 3 ice weaknesses, and they're these random Pokemon at the end. Oh no, also Flamigo. Okay, maybe worse than I thought. Kind of weak to Fairy though.
I wouldn't say like it's the best ground type, but it definitely can do some
Better than no ground type.
damage. Yeah, exactly.
It's got
Goodra.
Draco off of 50 special attack, which is not very good, but I will probably run it some game. Goodra. Speaking of Draco, this is off
Right.
110 special attack. That's
Yeah.
a little bit better. A
And we also know
Goodra,
how bulky Goodra is as well.
Goodra did really well in Tainana as well, with Sap Sipper and Terra Water, so it only has 1 weakness.
Oh, yep.
It's pretty good,
Uh,
especially when you have 150 special defense. And then you click Acid Armor to boost up
you
your
know,
Fist
like,
Def.
yeah. You know, Goodra has a lot of coverage.
It does. Does it still have Power Whip?
Yeah.
I know a few Pokemon lost Power Whip. Goodra did not lose Power Whip.
Nope, it doesn't. It still have Power Whips.
Trust,
And then,
friends. Acid Armor, Body Press. Was it like Rain Dance, Rest, Hydration? It's a Terra. Terra anything, you know. I think Terra Fighting was the one I was thinking. That's clearly the play. Acid Armor, Body Press, Goodra. So base semi defense is basically enough, right? And then Go-Goat is a Pokemon. I was looking at grass types, and it was technically the bulkiest of the three I was looking at. It is 62 defense.
The other Pokemon, I don't know what it's doing.
Go-Goat?
I think bulk up. Yeah.
It also has 97 special attack, so you can click the spread grass move and then gives Goodra Sap Sipper.
Yep. I see.
It also has Sap Sipper. You know, just in case anyone was worried that I was weak to like Palafin's grass and electric weaknesses, I do have 2 grass immunities and 2 electric immunities.
Yep. So overall, I think your team is pretty wide.
Okay.
You can bring like, I know Palafin would be probably the sweeper that you're gonna bring almost every week, but then like the support you can bring Palafin with Klefki or Flamigo to set up Tailwind, or Bronzong if you want to play a little bit slow, which I don't think you will, but yeah, you got multiple options there.
Do you think Flamigo gets Body Press?
You got. Does it?
I have no idea. It does not. Sadly, I cannot co-star off other like Iron Defense, Bronzong, Iron Defense, Klefki, and Body Press.
Oh, yeah.
It's heartbreaking. Just give it Power Trip. So do you think my team is more tempo or more long game?
I think it's gonna be a long game.
Okay.
I mean, like even from Palafin, you have to set it up.
Yeah. It needs at least one turn, right?
You have to, yeah.
Even if they lead Intimidate and you like eject pack out, which they're unlikely to do because they know I have Palafin, right? You still need the next turn to bring it in, even if you like Chilly Reception and whatever. So that is slower than other Pokemon. But I think I have a decent bit of immediate power. Like Flamigo is strong, Armarouge is strong, Lokix is strong, Goodra is strong, Jolteon is strong, Salazzle is strong, Go-Goat can be strong, and Nightshade's funny. I got sniped on all of the Trick Room users I wanted.
Build your team to be a little bit. Yeah, you can build. You can also build your team to be a little bit bulkier on the bulkier side as well. So you get multiple options there.
So yeah, I'd say probably it leans towards long game. Do you think it leans more or less than the Cincy Minchies did, the team we just looked at?
Yeah, let's see. I would say. Yeah, I think Cincy Mincy might be a little bit more.
Okay, that's where I was putting it as well.
Yeah, it's slightly less than Mincy probably.
Sure, that's exactly where I had it. Cool. I'm glad that we're in agreement. Okay, Monomalids, Wedgehurst Whimsicots, the Duckman himself. Sableye, Pelipper, both good rain setters. Rain Abuser, Gold Duck, Beartick, Raichu. Hurricane Scyther. I don't know if it gets Hurricane. I don't think it does. Amoonguss is a funny guy. Tinkaton and Raichu are 2 of the best fake out users in the format. Primeape, if you like Terra it to a type that benefits from Rain, it could be good. Rage Fist, the signature move of Primeape and Annihilape, boosts up its base power. So, you know, having a 300 base power ghost move is kind of okay. You know, I wouldn't kick it out of bed, you know. Scyther is strong but lost to Wing Beat, so it's using Aerial Ace. That said, it is a fast Tailwind setter. Pelipper is a slow Tailwind setter. It's probably the 3rd or 4th best slow Tailwind setter. Camerupt is interesting on this team. As a Fire type, I think it's decent. Ground and Fire are really good together. Grounds are pretty rare. And Solid Rock is a good ability. It makes you... I'm forgetting the word. Solid Rock makes it so that you take less damage from the two weaknesses you have, ground and water, but also if you Terra, Solid Rock is a lot better then. And it can take advantage of its okay bulk. 70, 70, 75 with Terra and Solid Rock. Lycanroc is technically on the team. I don't really know why. I actually don't know what Amogus and Sableye are supporting. What, Nasty Plot Raichu? Bulk Up Primeape maybe? Swords Dance Scyther? Swords Dance Scyther. Swords Dance Beartick. Seems a bit slow. Does Gold like a Nasty Plot this gen?
Don't think so.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, I think it learnt it new this gen.
It does?
It learns Power Gem. I know that for sure now. But yeah, I'm looking at it. It's got Nasty Plot. I think I'm in. Oh, I'm not in VGC 2023. I don't think it'd be different, but yeah, it learns Nasty Plot. So there are options. I just don't know that any of them are amazing. Swords Dance Tinkaton as well, I guess. I don't know if any of the options are amazing. 3 really good Fake Out users, but not a lot to abuse it with, because a lot of the Pokemon are not that immediately strong. So I'd say this is kind of like a mid-gamey, mid-rangey sort of thing. Like Pelipper and Golduck are great, or like Golduck is great in Rain, but without Rain up, it's not that good.
Yeah, this team definitely is. I think it's gonna be top heavy and tempo.
Tempo? I mean, I think it's maybe a bit towards long game. Like, it's got a lot of bulky Pokemon. Yeah. It's got Prankster Dual Screens. It's got a Moongus. Scyther and Primeape compete for EVL Light, which is not great at all. Because both of them are good with EVL Light, and Scyther can run Sash, but it likes EVL Light. Its bulk is shockingly good. It turns out, being a fully evolved Pokemon gives you good stats. 70, 80, 80. Especially with Terra, that's like crazy good. Especially when you consider how fast it is. Yeah, it's interesting.
The only problem is that like most of these Pokemon really need to be supported by Rain. So if I'm Mono, I would set up the team to be a little bit more offensive, so I can utilize the Rain before it's over. That's probably
like Raichu is not the strongest electric type to click Thunder with, right? If you compare its exactly. I think 90 special attack to the 110 of Jolteon, I think there are other fast electric types in the gen, though I'm actually not sure.
Yeah, and then Golduck is only like 95 special attack as well. So
yeah, which is okay in Rain, because I think that's the same as Kingdra.
Yep.
That is the same as Kingdra, so it's okay in Rain, but it helps also having the Dragon Stab, right? Meant to sort by speed. So yeah, I guess it really is. There's not a lot of good electrics in the format. That's crazy. It's actually a more dire situation than I would have thought. So yeah, I think this is in the tempo top heavy sort of range with the Greninjas and the Apex Lola Marowak, though I think it's less tempo than they are. Mostly because a lot of these mons, like Pelipper Golduck is an okay lead, but if you have the wrong Covert Cloak on the wrong mon, then they're getting faked out and not doing as much, and you kind of want both of the mons to be hitting. Also, I don't know if Golduck gets Muddy Water right now.
Let's see.
Yeah, it doesn't. Does Pelipper get Muddy Water right now?
Yep.
A lot of Pokemon lost a lot of coverage with Scald, so you're relying on Hydro Pump. It doesn't look like Pelipper gets Muddy Water either, so yeah, both of these Pokemon.
And Chilling Water.
Surf and Chilling Water is rough.
Water Pulse. Yep.
I mean Hydro Pump, right?
Much options there.
Hydro Pump, but no Weather Ball and no you can Wide Guard with Pelipper, which is nice. You can Wide Guard with Pelipper and Discharge with Raichu, so that your Pelipper isn't hit by Discharge. Or you could just use Camerupt. Or Terra Ground it. Yeah, I don't know, this Pokemon, like, there's a lot of individually good Pokemon, I'm just not sure that the team feels super coherent to me. Okay, so the Pittsburgh Piplops, our final team, Camo Dude. This team is like a budget version of Sly's super scary team.
Dragonite is pretty good though. I think it can.
Yep, Dragonite's really good.
Pair into normal.
Morgrem dual screens. It really terrifying with Skeledirge and Garganacl. Both those Pokemon are amazing. Frosmoth with Terra and taking advantage of its ability Ice Scales, which gives it double special defense. I think it is. I think it's double. It might be 1.5, but I think it's double. It is double. That's crazy good. Fletchinder Tailwind is Gale Wings, so it's fast, but that Mon can get faked out and then hit with another move, so that it loses Terra. Even if you're Covert Cloak, it would lose Gale Wings and then die if it's slower. So it doesn't work as well as Talonflame, because Talonflame is just extraordinarily fast. I think it's 84 speed. Mabostiff is a really interesting Mon. It's quite tanky. It's got access to Intimidate. I believe it has Intimidate.
Yep.
I know it's got Guard Dog and Stakeout. Stakeout is not as reliable in VGC, but it's pretty strong. 3 Dark types, I just realized. They really don't want an opposing Prankster. Slowpoke is a Trick Room setter. Pachirisu, Pawmot, interesting together. Pawmot Revival Blessing is really scary on a Mon like Garganacl, as well as on a Mon like Dragonite. Getting a second one of those is scary, and Pawmot also has Fake Out. Pachirisu Follow Me is pretty good. Obviously, both those Pokemon are weak to ground attacks, but Dragonite is immune. That said, both Skeledirge and Garganacl are also weak to ground, so you might want to like Terra them, which is annoying to want to do turn 1. Especially when you might get Wisped if they disrupt Pachirisu. Because only one of Pachirisu and Fletchinder can run Covert Cloak.
Yep.
So I'd say this team has some really fast Mons. Dragonite is fast. Skeleturge can very easily feel fast. Frosmoth can definitely be fast. Pawmot is fast. Garganacl is slow. Mabostiff is kind of in the middle. Morgrem is slow. Pachirisu is slow. Fletchinder is fast. And then Frosmoth is probably good. I don't know. Is having taking half damage from special moves good? I hope so.
Yep. Definitely, and then you got Intimidate to cover for physical attacks, I think.
Do you reckon this team's wide?
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
Or do you think that it focuses a lot? Okay, so if we look at this, right? Dragonite, Skeledirge, Garganacl, I think are coming to most matchups. But the rest of the Mons, except for like Pawniard, feel like they can come pretty reliably. So I'd say this is somewhat top heavy, but not very. And it plays a bit towards long.
Yeah, it's in the middle.
I think it's kind of similar to the Golden
the long
Goats.
game.
I actually pull the Slice team down because it's a lot more long game than Brown Palafins are also there. So yeah, ultimately, what you guys see on the screen is what we've got, and I thank you guys for watching. I thank Ray a ton for hopping on. It's always great collaborating with someone else in Australia. I always love doing it, and it's great having VBL-S coaches make VBL-S content. Now's when you say thank you. Oh yeah, sorry. Thank you guys. Look, we tried hard. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment down below. Like I said, my videos die if they get no comments, and they do okay if they do get comments. It seems more impactful than likes for some reason. So yeah, VBL out.